going to get in the ring. That's when that threat becomes a reality.
This story is great. I love this story. There's a Taco Bell employee in Ferndale who used to ride his bike everywhere. It was his main mode of transportation. He would drive. He would ride his bike to work. And back in May, somebody stole his bike from the Taco Bell parking lot while he was at work, and he had no way of getting to and from places. But less than 2 weeks later, he had a brand new bike delivered to him, all thanks to the Ferndale Police Department. This is such a nice story. So obviously they called the police after his bike was stolen. They couldn't find the suspect who rode off on it, and it was kind of a loss, but the officer realized, wow, this bike was really, really important to this guy. So he decided to go to this Motor City pawnbrokers to see if they had a bike that they could sell him. And the owner of the business said, you know what, we don't want to sell you the bike. We want to donate the bike to you. So they found a bike, donated it to the police officer. That police officer took it to a Trek bicycle store in Royal Oak, who did a tune-up and serviced the bike for free. And then he went and delivered the bike to this employee. And just such a nice story all around. Somebody just doing something nice and kind for somebody else. The employee said he couldn't believe it. He thought it was a joke at first, but he's very appreciative.
That's great.
In 3.5 miles at the roundabout,
yes.
take the second
If
exit
you're
onto
planning
South
to travel
Baldwin Road.
over the Memorial Day holiday weekend, be prepared to see some traffic, because there's going to be a lot more people out on the road. And AAA says that there's going to be about 60% more people traveling on the roads than last year. They actually expect more than 37 million people to travel at least 50 miles from their house during the holiday weekend. So there's going to be a lot of people out and about, and your gas is going to cost you a fortune. So be prepared for that as well. I've seen there's gas stations. I don't know if it's happening here in Michigan, but in other states where they're limiting the amount of gas you can actually purchase.
Yeah, down south in Tennessee, Carolinas, Texas, there's that pipeline that I don't know the full story, but yeah, there are some shortages and there's some rationing going on.
Yeah, Nashville ain't so cool anymore, is it, Jansen?
At least I don't need it for my mower.
True. Very true.
All right. Hey, we do have some breaking news. It's music news. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has just announced their 2021 inductees. Ready? Tina Turner, who I'm surprised wasn't in already. The great Carole King. Jay-Z. Foo Fighters. Todd Rundgren. You'll love that in Green Bay. Bang the drum all day. And this is perfect if Wojo's going to
Will he be the only Hall of Famer in Green Bay this fall?
It could be. But Wojo's favorites, the Go-Go's. I don't know. They have about 2 hits. Our Lips Are Sealed, and We Got the Beat. I don't know if that deserves Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Those who didn't make it, who will probably get in one of the next times, include Rage Against the Machine, Shaka Khan, Mary J. Blige, Iron Maiden, Kate Bush, Devo, the New York Dolls. So, no problem. They need another time.
Eventually.
Yes. Rage Against the Machine should definitely be in if you ask me. All right. Thank you very much, Heather. Coming up next, the Robert Anderson report from the University of Michigan's perspective was released yesterday. You'll get my perspective. Coming up next, 97.1 The Ticket.
Hey you guys, it is Heather Park. If you're a sports betting fan, you've got to go check out my friends at BetRivers Sportsbook. The baseball season is rolling and the pro basketball playoffs begin next week, so you've got to get ready to get in on all the action. And BetRivers Sportsbook is the place to be if you love exclusive bets and special promotions every day of the week. So right now, BetRivers is actually giving new users a special first deposit match offer up to $250. So here's what you need to do. You have to go set up your account at BetRivers.com. Then you make your first deposit and claim your 100% first deposit bonus using code 250MATCH. BetRivers will then match whatever amount you deposit up to $250. It is just that simple. Now, whether you're live betting the action on the hardwood or you're getting a jump on some baseball futures bets, BetRivers has you covered. So go create your account today using the code
In 1 mile,
250MATCH and
at the
stay in the game
roundabout,
with
take the
BetRivers
second exit
Sportsbook,
onto South
Detroit's
Baldwin
hometown
Road.
Sportsbook. Bet with the winner. Visit BetRivers.com for full terms and conditions. Must be 21, playable in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117.
easy as possible. Get started now and go to davidhallmortgage.com.
Hey, I'm Brian. As an aspiring baker, I've got a lot of secret ingredients. But my best one yet? Metro by T-Mobile. Metro gave me and the family high-speed data for only $25 a line for 4 lines and covered the switching fees. Plus, they threw in 4 free Galaxy phones just for switching. Now we can post pictures of my latest bakes and get out the word so the whole town knows I'm whipping up something sweet. How's that for stretching some serious dough?
You work hard for your money. With Metro by T-Mobile, it goes further. This tax season, there's 0 fees to switch. Right now, enjoy Metro's lowest price. Just $25 a line for 4
At the
lines with
roundabout,
taxes
take
and
the second exit onto
plus 4
South
free
Baldwin Road.
Samsung Galaxy phones when you switch. Now that's the best deal in wireless.
I'm Brian, and that's how I rule my day with Metro by T-Mobile.
All lines with promo rate of any deactivated. Sales tax and regulatory fees included in price. 0 fee on select phones. Limit 1 free phone per line with port. Exceed sales tax. Limit time offer. Additional terms apply. See metrobytmobile.com.
Med Supply
In half a
in
mile,
Troy, Michigan
at the
is your
roundabout,
number one-stop
take the
shop
second
for home
exit
and
onto
business
South
medical
Baldwin
equipment
Road.
and supplies. They have an assortment of FDA-approved nitro gloves, the highest quality, most durable medical-grade gloves for your peace of mind. Med Supply carries PPE, N95 masks, hand sanitizers, wipes, isolation gowns, and more 3 temperature gauge. 18 years in business. Aggressive pricing, same-day delivery. While supplies last, visit med-supply.com. That's med-supply.com.
So, how can I promote my new curbside
At the
pickup
roundabout,
service?
take the second exit onto South
Staples
Baldwin
Connect.
Road.
I need custom floor decals that'll get noticed, not just walked on.
Also possible, Staples Connect can help your business grow with custom printed sales and marketing materials. And now get 15% off signs, posters, and decals when you spend $75 or more. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Ends 5/29. Visit staples.com/signage for details.
Clay's Cleaning Service has a spotless reputation.
At the roundabout, take the second exit
But
onto
his
South
business
Baldwin Road.
operations could use a light dusting.
That's scheduled for next week. I'll just check here. No, absolutely. We will be there tomorrow.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This hour of Instant Feedback brought to you by Michael Burrow of National Benefit
At the
Plans.
roundabout,
For
take
affordable
the
life
second
insurance,
exit
call
onto South Baldwin Road.
877-734-2200.
The Detroit Pistons host the Denver Nuggets. Pre-game Friday night at 7:35 on News Radio 950 WWJ. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
All right, our telephone number is 248-539-9797. Yesterday, the report came out that was released by the law firm that the University of Michigan hired, the Wilmer Hale Law Firm, in a 240-page approximate report detailing the misdeeds and the disgusting activities of one Dr. Robert Anderson, to not just student athletes, but to other students at the University of Michigan, that was going on since the 1970s. Now, Dr. Anderson obviously has passed away. When you read some of the report, I haven't read the whole thing.
In 4.1
It is just as
miles,
disgusting
turn right onto
as
West
I
Montcalm
might
Street.
imagine as it was when we found out all about this. And I do want to say that John, who actually was a student athlete and works also part-time at the University of Michigan, legally by advice on his attorney is not allowed to comment on this because there's still going to be some litigation here, despite the fact that the report that was commissioned by the University of Michigan is now public knowledge. Okay? When you read about this stuff, and most of this stuff is not new because we heard allegations of this stuff before. But because it was by their own law firm that they hired, after their first law firm, they had to withdraw because of its ties with Jeffrey Epstein. It is apparent that this is just a massive cover-up for at least 40 to 50 years. People knew about this for a long time and did absolutely nothing. And we're talking, when I say know about this, we're talking about, and it goes doing anything to protect his boys. The team. And if anybody was injuring any of his players, he would be really pissed, which, knowing Bo, he probably would be. But it is apparent that he knew and just didn't want to know. You know how that goes. He reported it to Don Canham, who did nothing. You could go on and on. A lot of these members, obviously, in this stuff, like Bo, like Canham, have passed away. Some are still around. Former student athlete John Vaughn, former football player. There's others. And when you read and get into some of the disgusting details, it is apparent that this was indeed a massive cover-up at the University of Michigan. And it really bothers me personally, and nobody should really care about how I feel about this, because it was Bo Schembechler and that regime that turned me on to Michigan football, where I became kind of a ridiculous fan way later down the road. But
That's where it's no different than Penn State.
Yeah, exactly. And it's disgusting. And I'll tell you something else. Before COVID, we'd go into Schembechler Hall every week during the football season to talk to Jim Harbaugh, who played for Bo Schembechler, who used him, Dr. Anderson, as their family doctor, his father, him. Ward Manuel, the athletic director, was a player there. I want to hear from him and Harbaugh. But I mentioned we go to Schembechler Hall all the time. I'm sorry, this pains me. It pains to say this. But I said this in the beginning. I said, but I wanted to wait until I read more and found out more. But based on what I read yesterday, the name of the football building should be the University of Michigan Football Center. The statue of Bo Schembechler should be taken down. And I don't want to hear another quotation of the team. Because the team was not protected by the head coach. I'm sorry, it's disgusting. And like I said, it really pisses me off to have to say that. But Bo Schembechler and other coaches in that sport and in that athletic department let this go on for way too long. Now, granted, it was a different time back in the 70s and the 80s as far as what was acceptable, what was, people joking about and all that stuff. I get that.
Well, yeah, you could use homophobic slurs. I mean, you could yell and treat people. You could run them in the heat. You could do all kinds of things, but that doesn't excuse it still.
No.
And I will say this about how come people didn't come forward sooner. It was a different time about that too.
Yes.
Especially males.
Right.
Male on male versus
Right. But this is, you mentioned Sandusky. This is Sandusky. This is Nassar. This is the wrestling deal at Ohio State. It's gross. It's disgusting. And the university should pay whatever they have to do to get these people some sort of restitution. And like I said, I'm sorry. Schembechler should be, I'm not going to say take his name off records or anything like that, but it should not be called Schembechler Hall anymore. And they should take the statue down. Paterno did the same thing.
Yeah, and
it's very similar.
This still needs to play out a little bit. We need to
Yes.
see how the university is going to respond now that this came out. I understand how Harbaugh and Ward Manuel can't comment yet. I would love to hear from Lloyd Carr on this eventually. They're taking legal advice, just like John is. That he's not allowed in his situation, both an employee of Michigan and to comment. So I can respect that for right now. But I want to know what the alumni think. Seriously. Because I will admit this, eventually Michigan State fans and alumni came around on Nassar. And they're all, grossly offended by what took place. And yeah, there were some things that were kind of piled on there at the end with where Izzo had to come out and ESPN seemed to have a little bit of a witch hunt after the program. But in of itself with Nassar, they were disgusted, and I've never heard a state alumni take issue with the penalties and the fines and all that. It's just what do Michigan alumni want? Not fans, alumni. Like Greg's an alum. Right. What do you want on this? Because there just seems to be still a double standard towards this. Is not it's not different than Nassar in terms of what was done by the perpetrator.
Correct.
It's not.
people.
Yes.
Whether you think it's a joke or not, or, oh, it's just guys.
Turn left onto Wisner Street.
Good old boys. No, it's not. So that's who I want to hear from, because I think that they're the ones that have the say.
Now, as a Michigan fan who didn't go there, and like you, Gov, and you've probably been a fan longer than I am, do you agree that this stuff, I mean, you have to say it's somewhat true because it's their own investigation. I can't imagine them finding out, well, our own investigation was wrong. They didn't do this stuff. They didn't know. Do you agree that the statue in the building the name should be dismissed, basically?
Man, I'm really torn on this. I'll get the waffles out.
Okay.
Because I'll say it's growing up here. This is where I now understand how the Paterno defenders felt. Because he's an icon. But I think let's find out a little more info, but I am leaning towards yes on both, because I just find it hard to believe. Ultimately, he's responsible. It's on his watch. Did he go to Canham? Okay, well then, still, right? You have a choice to go public. If Canham didn't want to do anything, he had a choice. I always said that about Paterno and about the McQuarrie. They all had choices in real time. And it seems like everybody made the wrong choice across the board in all of these, even bringing the Ohio State wrestling thing.
Yes.
But there is some factor here, some weird human dynamic with the fact that this guy's dead and that the other insignificant figures involved are dead. That shouldn't change what happened.
No. My telephone number is 248-539-9797. We have some ticket texts. We'll get to them as well. Coming up next, 97 on the tip.
Hey, the sun is out today. The grass is going to continue to grow. Along with it, you're going to start to see some dandelions. You're going to start to see some crabgrass. It's not too late to trade for that crabgrass. And those dandelions are going to rob your lawn of water and nutrients. You want to make sure you treat them before they go to seed. Natural Way Lawn and Tree Service, they came out. They did that on my lawn. I had a couple of them.